Today, I will be reflecting on how much I've grown over the whole semester in COM 121. I will be talking about how I have improved in the topics of speaking and delivery skills, audience analysis, effective listening skills, and developing ideas that are supported by credible sources. Going on to the topic of speaking and delivery, let's just say everyone has had issues with speaking. Mine was no different. I was afraid to public speak, and I don't like talking in front of a group of people, no matter how big. Speaking on that, that is one thing I had to improve on. Also, along with needing to talk in front of people, I needed to keep my composure while talking. I needed to improve on attracting the audience in. I needed to work on transitions. And, like I said before, I need to improve on speaking in front of a large crowd. Some areas where I've noticed that I've improved, throughout all the speeches, I was becoming more and more comfortable with speaking in front of people. There's a little hiccup in the beginning when you were selecting people and you were just calling randomly. It made me forget everything I knew. Honestly, now I feel like I'm most competent with talking in front of people, and that's an important skill to have because no matter where I go, I'm probably going to have to talk to people. So that's definitely one skill that I'm pretty sure I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. Now, we were talking about me. Well, now we're going to talk about the audience. Knowing the audience is key to having an effective speech. You have to identify with the audience, so what their likes, dislikes are, how they're reacting to your speech. I can remember in the persuasive essay that I was constantly looking from one side of the room to the other, trying to see who had a reaction and who was, going like this, bored out of their mind. That helped me to bring in some more details that could intrigue people. And also, I was trying to make a strong impression because the story about my family, that's a true story. And I figured that I can teach people about it, and it would also bring more people in. The biggest challenge in audience analysis is probably trying to learn who your audience is. You have to figure out who they are, what they like, what they don't like, and you also have to worry about not offending them. I think that's kind of hard nowadays because political correctness, you can't really say anything, and it's different from person to person. So you could say one thing that's not offensive to one person, but is to another, and vice versa. How I can do a real life application? Just during any presentation that I'm giving, I can learn who the audience is. I can learn how they feel about me just by their facial expressions, so just looking out in the crowd and seeing, if they're paying attention or if they're on their phone or falling asleep. Also, that's a good way to tell if they're interested in talking and what I'm talking about. So, with your audience, you also have to have good listening skills. And I remember real life, persuasive speech, you each gave us an assigned person. We had to pay attention. We had to grade them. And, you definitely learn to pay attention. But really, any speech that I was listening to, I was pretty focused on, because that's the least you can do. Is if they spent all the time making it, you can give them 6 minutes just to say it and then learn. That's what you have to do. People think that listening is, oh well, all you have to do is just listen to the words. You just look like you're paying attention. But to me, listening, you have to give your full attention. You have to turn your body to the person that's speaking. pretty much make sure everything you have says that you're listening. Not just, oh, well, yeah, alright, I agree. But be into it. Listen completely. If you're in a nursing class, like I'm going to be next semester, any seminar, well, just in general, any seminar requires listening. Not only listening, but you have to pay attention to the little details because those could be what you're tested on. So, listening skills are important, and this is kind of bouncing back and forth. But when you're doing a speech, yeah, it's good to have listening skills, especially if you're getting criteria, but also the sources you look at, you have to see that are credible. So for the informative, we had to find credible sources. That's kind of obvious on an informative speech. But also, the sources that were about the topic couldn't be one-sided. You had to see both sides to them. You see both sides to them. That way, you could tell the good and the bad and have the audience decide on what they want to do without trying to be persuasive at all. However, on the persuasive speech, you had to find credible sources that supported your view, and also they strengthened it more than your opponent or whoever you're speaking against. So what this means is you want it to support yours, but you want it to be factual, and you want it to be from a website like the CDC or some other government-funded website that you know is trustworthy. So, I mean, just finding the right credible source is a very important part to anything that really just requires research. So far in this reflection, I've talked about how I've improved speaking and delivery, how I've improved over audience analysis, how I've improved in listening skills, and how I've improved credible sources. So, all that's great, but along with those 4 important skills, you have to find the willingness to actually do the work, and you have to find the willingness to actually want to talk to people. You can't just be an introvert all your life. You have to speak out, and it does get easier the more you speak, and I've learned that, and I'm really appreciative of the class. And thank you, Miss Wagner, for helping me get over that hump of being afraid to speak in front of people. And I'm pretty sure I won't be afraid of it again. Thank you.